Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Mandy from Hope Designs and welcome to our collaboration. So if you've been seeing the wonderful trailer video that Angie put together, this is a collaboration with all 5 of us, so I would love it if you would check out everyone's channel. I will list their videos below. Look at this little goober we have already. So right now, while I'm just laying down the pillow paint, I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about what we're going to do. So we have all done a we're all putting together a collaboration piece where we're all using similar colors, which is always fun because every artist has a different spin on that. So it's always neat to see what everyone creates. So we selected kind of the pictures for a monarch butterfly, which are the kind of the orange, black, and yellow. And we are all using the bloom recipe, but we're not necessarily all doing a bloom. So I don't know why I said that. I'm excited to see what everybody creates. And so we're just gonna get our pillow paint down. I'm doing a 12-inch cradled wood board from Lowly Veffy. And I primed it because wood breathes, and anytime you paint or use resin on wood, it's a good idea to prime it. It just keeps it from warping, or decreases the likelihood that it will warp. So I'm just getting my pillow paint down. I'll show you the colors. I'm gonna try to not make this an incredibly long video, but you know how that goes. So I have a hard time using just a couple of colors. So I basically pulled out everything I already had mixed up that was sort of in the orange and yellow category. So this color is Spicy Apricot, and this is from Colourarte. This is one of the Glitz colors. The reason I chose this is it's sort of like almost like an azo nickel gold, so it's kind of yellow, orangey, tan. So I just gonna throw this one in for a little bit of contrast. So I am using too many colors. I'm just going to tell you that right now. This is Spiced Pumpkin from Colourarte. And the reason I'm using this is because I only have a little bit mixed up, so I'd rather use it than let it continue to sit here in this little container. I'm definitely going to use this is Cadmium Yellow Light from Atelier. I think this is the only tube paint I'm using. And this is kind of a cool yellow, and the rest of these colors are kind of warm. So, you know, we're just breaking all the rules, but that's okay. I'm going to use Fireworks. I'm not necessarily going to use them in this order, by the way. Fireworks is kind of like a red orange, which I love. This is one of the Glitz colors from Colourarte. I love this color. So I was determined to use this color for sure. I may throw in a little bit of Bleeding Heart. This one doesn't, this is kind of illegal if I do, because that's not really orange or yellow. So I have it out, but I may not use it because it would be kind of cheating. This is Isadora. This is from the new Bling set. And I was determined to use this because it's just so pretty. So I am definitely going to throw that one in there somewhere. And I'm going to use an interference gold and an interference red and an interference gold sparkle from Colourarte, just to add a little punch. And I'm probably going to throw some Firefly in there because I love the color shift that it adds. So I'm going to use a blue-black cell activator from Atelier. I'm really tempted to use Pineapple Crush because it would go great with these colors, but I'm already using too many colors. So that's the difficult thing when you have so many beautiful things to choose from. It's hard to not use them all. So my plan is to use some of these very sparingly, not, you know, necessarily all be the main event. So I'm going to do a palette knife swipe. Similar, if you saw the clock face that was released earlier this week, I'm going to use the same palette knife. I really like the way that turned out, even after we had to fight with it to get rid of the Whoville. So I like it. So I'm going to start off with the spiced apricot, because I think that will just kind of give us a good contrast in the background of all of the oranges and the yellows. Could have sworn I just saw a piece of fuzz. Well, hopefully not. And one of the challenges I have is I always put too much color on. So we'll see. Hopefully not. I've only used this as like a puddle color in a bloom before. I haven't really used it a whole lot. So I'm excited to try it. So now I'm going to throw on some cad yellow. This is an opaque yellow, but it's also a very like easy to play well with others yellow. It's not one of those yellows that kind of takes over. So I thought it would be good to use in here. This particular shade of yellow would look really beautiful with magenta. I need to revisit doing a magenta bloom. Ah! Okay, now I'm going to throw on some of my interference colors. And while you may not be able to see them a ton in the video, when this piece is dried and resin, the interference colors will really stand out. So that's why I like to use them, because once it dries and you get a coat of resin on it, you're like, whoa. So spiced pumpkin, we are going to use a lot of this color just because I really need this has been mixed up for a really long time. So talk about using too much color, I'm about to do it. Oh, that's just a lot. I don't know that I can do that. I may have to add it to something I already have mixed. Because the good thing about spiced pumpkin is a semi-translucent color, so it's not gonna take over this piece like a opaque color might. So then we're gonna use a little bit of Firefly. Again, Firefly is gonna be more of an interference color. It does have color on its own, but it's a very soft and beautiful color. So it's not gonna come in here and overshadow everything. And then our last two colors are going to be the Isadora and, where did I say this other one was? Man, my brain is fried. Fireworks. And I'm really torn on which one I should put on the top. I think I'm going to put the Isadora on the top. Not that that entirely matters in a swipe the way it does in a bloom. But usually if you're using like a dark cell activator, putting your lighter color on the top is kind of a good idea. So the Bling It colors, the set is out. Now of course we have had the interference Bling It with Colourarte, and there's a couple more colors that have been Bling It colors like Indian Spice and some of those colors, which are gorgeous. But to my knowledge, this is the first full-blown set that has come out that has been all Bling It. So you can use it in resin, you can use it in acrylic. This is one of those colors. So this is Isadora, named after the Isadora diamond, and it's a beautiful color. I have too much color on here, as I said I probably would do. So what's super fun about those is if you might have challenges, maybe if you're new to using pigments and you maybe have struggled with using like the primary elements, which are a dry paint system, this particular set is going to be more kind of straight mica, which is maybe has less of a learning curve to get used to using them. And they perform really well in the bloom so far, based on what I have seen. I've seen other people do. I love them a lot, so I'm super excited. I can't wait to try them in some resin pieces in the near future. So now we're going to pop these bubbles, and While I'm popping bubbles, there's plenty of discount codes in the description box for you to take advantage of. The 20% off Colourarte is there if you want to grab the new set. And Boom Gel Stain discounts. She also has Australian Floetrol, which is a great thing when it's difficult to get it here in the United States. And all kinds of fun things for you guys. I'm also going to put the other ladies' videos in the description box, so don't forget to check those out. I've seen a couple previews, and you don't want to miss their beautiful creations. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of the cell activator on this little swipe tool. And I put way too much. So I'm sharing this with you because I would appreciate that if people shared it. I put entirely too much on there. So I'm going to cover it, but I don't want it to like be dripping with it, you know. And this is why manicures are pointless in my world. Okay, so I'm going to start in the middle. This always makes me so nervous. I have a lot of paint in there. All right, I'm gonna wipe that little guy off, and I'm not gonna worry about all the things that are wrong with that until it continues to develop. Make sure you guys can see. Okay. And then I'll come back and play around with it. I like some of the weird little cells that are developing. Now I have all of my ratios and what I use listed below. Typically for cell activator, I start with a 3:1 ratio, so 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part paint. And then if I need to thin it down, I'll thin it down from there. For me, and maybe I'm wrong about this, for me, a 4:1 ratio has been too thin. But that also could be based on where I live, because I'm in a climate that's more warm or hot. So I know lots of people use a 4:1 ratio very successfully. So I'm not saying that that is the case for everyone, but that is the case for me. So here's the trick. I want to get this part, but I really love these cells. So I don't know the best way to handle that. I think I'm going to try to get that part with a smaller knife in a minute. So I'm going to come from here. I may not have done as great of a job that time. So let's let that develop a little bit and not worry about it yet. So when I do a negative space swipe, which I am still incredibly amateur at, I tend to overwork them to the point where they're absolute madness, you know what I mean? But I really try to have kind of some movement so that it's not just like line. Some of them are still really pretty when they turn out like that. But if you follow our channel, you know my husband has had to rescue a couple because I'm like, no, this is crap. I'm going to pour over this. And he's like, it's fine. Leave it alone. So I kind of like it to have kind of a weird movement. That's why some of them turn out looking like dragons or birds or something, because I want there to be some like interest and movement. But you can get them too busy, I think, you know. So hats off to some of you who are amazing at them. My favorite negative space YouTube artist is Nikki D, and she's incredible. So if you don't watch her, you should. So now I'm going to mess with it. That wasn't really great. So all I'm doing is trying to kind of soften these edges that look kind of like they're trying to swim into the pillow. What I'm doing isn't really working though, so we'll see how far I go with that. I also kind of like the cell activator cells when it's just the pillow poking through. I think it adds some nice contrast. Okay. Now, naturally, this part right here, I hope you can see what I'm pointing to, is super beautiful and it's probably gonna fly off. I hope that we keep this part right here. And this part right here, obviously. If I was going to embellish and wreck this at any point, it would not be right there. It would probably be maybe right through here. So let's piddle for a little bit and see if I'm gonna wreck it. Not wreck it, but you know, embellish it. So one of the things I like to do is when these edges are real crazy looking, I like to kind of make those weird hairs. They're not hairs, but they're like wispy lines look a little bit more intentional by just kind of dragging them to flow in a certain direction. I'm not necessarily going to try to get rid of them. I just want them to not look like they're trying to swim into the paint, which is kind of what it's trying to do. So that's, I don't know if that's helpful at all, but I'm convinced in my head that it somehow helps the composition. So many people have complimented us on this intro for this collaboration, and I had nothing to do with that. That was the lovely Angie. She is super talented and spent a long time putting that together. So make sure and show her some love on her channel. She did a fabulous job on that. And she put that together with almost no help, well, really kind of no help from any of us. She just did a fantastic job. So great job, Angie. I've had so many people compliment the intro or think that somehow I have video editing skills. And I'm like, no, it's not me, it's her. I'm not going to take credit for that. But I love doing collaborations like this because you obviously get to know other artists and grow your friendships with them, but you also get to learn from one another, you know? And be challenged to do something you wouldn't typically do. Like, these are not colors I probably would have ever really tried, but that's one of my favorite things about this. All right, so let me concentrate for a second. I'm going to wreck this, but not all the way, because I don't want to go through that. And then, oh man, I don't want to go through any of it. Like, I don't even know if that was a good idea. Maybe I should go through this. I don't know, you guys. I kind of like to do that because then it gives you a little bit of movement, but I don't want the Whoville thing that I got in the last video. But I don't really want to mess with it much more because I kind of like what's developing here. So let's do a gentle spin. I hope you guys can still see what I'm doing.
Whee! I almost fell off this stool.
Okay. And sorry if you watched the clock face video and noticed that I never turned my bright light back on. What a goober. I was like, oh my gosh, you can't really see what's going on. Okay, let me help this a little bit. Oh, no. You blue, you stay in your lane. You guys saw that? Maybe you didn't. It feels like you can't see what I'm doing over here. I hope you can. But that blue is trying to have its own party. Okay. I'm going to gently spin. For one thing, I have this puppy pool just on the table. Don't tell anybody. I'm a rebel. And then for two, I really don't want to lose all of this if we don't have to. I'd rather lose some of this over here if that's the direction we went. So I'm going to tilt just a little bit and see if I can shift some of the weight of the paint toward the center so we can try to save my favorite part, which is this part closest to me. Okay, let's see. I left that pillow paint sitting there too long, and now we have these ridges over here. I'm gonna mess them up in hopes that they don't dry like that. This is part of the challenge with this technique, is knowing the right amount of pillow paint. Because if you don't have enough, you have to overwork your design to get your edges covered. If you have too much, you have to spend too much to get it off. You can see how that would be a difficulty, you know. We still have too much on, but I don't want to have to hyper spin to get it off. So we're going to gently spin. I just want to give a little more of a chance for this to get further on here. Whew. It's making me nervous, you guys. I think this collaboration took me forever to do this piece because I was like, do I want to do a bloom? Do I want to do a swipe? What colors am I going to use? Am I going to cheat and throw a peach in there? Which I didn't. Let's all be proud. I didn't cheat. But today I was like, oh my gosh, it's this week. I got to get this done. I don't want to be the one person who's like late to the party, you know? So all of these artists are lovely ladies. I'm sure you're going to enjoy their work. Sorry, I have the lid in my mouth. Okay, let's try this again. I love this part. I better be careful about waving my hand on things. I'm feeling kind of rebellious not having anything to protect my table from all this runoff other than these little puppy pads. Makes me feel like a real rebel. But I also think you can see it better and I can access it. So I like that. Okay, so before I get too crazy, am I gonna embellish it anymore? There's still a little bit too much paint on here. I don't know, I kind of like it. Yikes. I love this part that's closest to me. And honestly, I really like all of it. I kind of wish that part of this kind of came down a little bit. But it may be too late to accomplish that. Because I don't want the cells to get weird at this point, because I really like the cell structure. If anything, I can possibly do a little messing around right here. I just don't want it to look like the bat signal, you know, but I think adding a little line here kind of helped. I don't really know that what I did here added any value. So that may not have been the greatest idea I ever had, but we can also play around with that and add a little bit of interference color around the edge here and see if we can't add some interest here. So I'm just going to spin gently. We still have a little bit too much paint on there. I want to make sure this little guy doesn't try to fly off. Stay in your lane. I wish you guys could tell me what you think. Do you like it? Do you think it's too busy? I almost don't want to spin it much more because I feel like almost anything I do now would make it open up too much. So let me clean my hands and see if we're going to do any additional work to it the way it is, or if we're going to add any more lines or embellishments or a little extra pizzazz around some of the edges. I like how this was wispy here, but it seems to have gone a little rogue. But the part that seems odd to me is this part. So I kind of need to look at it from, like, not from the angle that I made it, and step back from it for a second.
This is probably already really long.
So let me not take too much time from you guys. All right, so the only thing I did is I just dabbed a couple places where the lines, where the wispiness was kind of taking over to kind of delete it. So here, I think I'm going to just do a little bit of stuff with this. I so far don't like that actually. It's Whoville all over again. It's okay. I can clean that up in a second. So what I'm torn about is, do I want to do something to make this see, I don't want to wreck anything here, and I don't really like what I did here now that it blew out. But the one thing I think we can do is kind of create a little bit of interest, and it won't be still. So nope, I don't really like that. I don't know why this part is bothering me. It would not bother me if any of you made it, but it is bothering me. I was tempted to add some interference color around that edge, but I think it would make it too stark of a difference against this blue. So let me do something else. I know that I don't love that, but it's going to fill back in, and I think I can deal with this guy right here. This is what happened to my last one. I obsessed about one of these little points. I guess what I'm trying to do is make this not look so uber uniform right there. Like I want it to play well with others somehow. And look like we intended for it to do that, you know? So I don't really know if I'm accomplishing that or not. That's why I sometimes have to take a step back and look at it again. But at least it looks a little bit less Batman-like. Not that there's anything wrong with Batman, but it's not the look we're going for. I just want it to, I think what messes with me is the propensity for it to look like it's a big line. But I do kind of like that. It's weird, but I kind of like it, because if I were to hang this, I would probably hang it like the way I'm looking at it. I'd probably hang it like this. And I think that this little tiny bit over here kind of offsets how much larger this part is. Maybe it's in my head, but let's spin it gently and see if it fills in nicely where I added all that paint there. I think I better stop messing with it before I overwork it. But let me know. Did that help? Did it make a difference? Do you hate it? Let me know. If you hate it, I can probably fix it before I resin it. So I'd like your honest opinion. I kind of like the wispiness though. I kind of like the little bit of interest that it adds. I want to, I don't know why my Alexa thinks that I'm talking to her, but I'm not. I want to kind of isolate it a little bit. You know, I don't really want it to have like its own zip code. I just want it to, I think I just wanted to make the tail into something that wasn't too bad. I think I can live with it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me bring you down for a close-up. I don't want to make this too long so you can watch everyone else. Okay, my friends, so let's take a look here. So this part is my favorite. And right now I'm leaning toward this being the composition. Let me know what you think. But now see, I spun it a little too much, and you see how that cell structure started to hurt here a little bit. It's not bad, but that's why I don't want to spin over and over and over again. Eventually your cells can break up. Sometimes with a swipe, you can get away with a little bit of a thicker cell activator so you can hold up your cells. My favorite are these that have this like white outline. I really dig that. So, and I love the blue-black cell activator. I think it added a lot of color interest to the piece. Here's where I went rogue with that weird swipe up into the blue, but it's all right. I think the spiced apricot added a nice like tinge of like almost like a nickel azo gold, but it didn't take over, so I think it really added a nice look. Here's the top right. I also really love this part right here. Again, you can see where some of these cells, these are more like pillow cells, but where they started to turn almost like little clouds. That's why you don't want to just keep spinning, because all of your lacing will begin to do that. Super annoying. So I love that right there. It's a lot of fun. And I love the way the blue-black looks spread out over that white pillow. We did manage to keep some of the good cells. Of course, some of the good ones always spin off and then you mourn about it. This one weird big cell is pretty strange. It's really like a pillow cell, but we're just gonna pretend he belongs there. But yeah, let me know what you think. Please don't forget to check out the other ladies. Don't forget about the discount codes below, and please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. What do you think of my weird wispies? Are they all right? I kind of like the way it brought the orange into the blue. But, you know, I'm still learning like everybody else. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. So here's a little sneak peek under a coat of resin. It still needs another coat, but you can see some of the interference popping through. Little glimpses of it right there. Even some pink shift that came from Firefly. So it dried well, and under resin it's just really beautiful. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit of the difference under resin so you can see the interference a little bit. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to check out the other ladies, Haritha and Jodie and Angie and Muna. And please consider subscribing to them if you don't already. Thank you again so much. This has been a lot of fun. And I will post the resin results probably as a short later on, but I wanted to share with y'all. Thanks for watching. Bye.